This is the summary of Lesson 3, Balanced Moves from Unit 4, Linear Equations and Linear Systems, and this is a revised version of this summary. This summary makes a connection between the balanced hangers that we saw before and the equations that we're going to start working with from this point forward. So if you have two expressions that are equal, so 4x plus 9 is equal to a negative 2x plus a negative 3, so I'm changing this subtracting a positive 3 to adding its additive inverse, a negative 3, so I have addition here. Then these two expressions are equal, so you can write an equation. Then to solve that equation, you can perform the same operation on both sides. So in this case, we're going to add a negative 9. So add a negative 9 to both sides. Adding negative 9 plus this positive 9, these are additive inverses, so these equal 0. So you're left with 4x equals a negative 2x plus a negative 3 plus a negative 9 is negative 12. And again, changing this subtracting a positive 3 to adding a negative 3, adding its additive inverse, makes this calculation a bit easier. So now you're adding a negative 3 plus a negative 9. You're adding two negatives together, and that sum is equal to negative 12. And this is called combining like terms. You're getting all the x's together, and you're getting all the numbers together, which are called constants. Now, we haven't gotten all the x's together just yet, but you can actually add expressions to both sides as well. So we have a negative 2x here, so if we add a positive 2x, now if we add a positive 2x, so this positive 2x plus this negative 2x equals 0, so you're left with negative 12. And notice once again, if I change this subtracting a positive 12 to adding a negative 12, then it's easy to see why this is negative 12. If you don't make that change to adding a negative 12, then you run the risk of looking at this as negative 12 right here, where it's not. This is subtraction, and this is the negative sign. So don't mix up the operation with the sign of the number or the sign of the value. So 4x plus positive 2x. So now we're going to combine those. Those are the same thing. Those are like terms. So you can combine them into 6x, and you're left with negative 12 on this side. Now to figure out what a single x is, you're going to multiply by the multiplicative inverse. So if I have 6 of these x's, I want to know what one of them is. So that's 1/6 of 6. So multiplying by the multiplicative inverse of 6 is 1/6. That equals 1. So you're left with x equals negative 2. So you multiply on each side by 1/6. So you're doing the same operation to both sides. If 1/6 of 6x is x, then that means that 1/6 of negative 12 is going to equal that 1x. You can simplify negative 12/6 to negative 2. So what I'm doing here is pulling out this negative 1 and writing this as a negative 1 times 2 times 6. That negative 1 is the same as the opposite. So the opposite of 2 times 6. And these 6's cancel out, and you're left with the opposite of 2, which is negative 2, which is the answer.